Have you noticed how people rarely test you with confrontation anymore, but with silence? They ignore your messages, delay their replies, and act indifferent not because they're busy, but because they're measuring your reaction. The more anxious you get, the more power they feel. The moment you chase, they know you're hooked. Modern manipulation doesn't always use words. It uses absence. Every pause, every delayed response, every calculated silence is an experiment in dominance. Every time you lose your composure, you hand someone the blueprint to your psychology. That's how the modern world operates. Control isn't about physical force anymore. It's emotional chess. They don't need to hurt you. They just need to make you feel something strong enough to break your equilibrium. Your anger becomes their confirmation. Your guilt becomes their leverage. Your sadness becomes their control panel. As Machiavelli observed, "He who guides the hearts of men controls their hands." The one who stirs your emotion doesn't need a weapon. They already own your decisions. Power today is hidden in psychology. You don't conquer nations, you conquer perception. The rich, the successful, the influential, they understand this game deeply. When Warren Buffett was attacked in the media, he didn't defend himself or retaliate. He simply said, "Time is the friend of the patient." That's not a quote about money. It's about composure. The calm ones always win because they stay unreactive long enough for chaos to expose itself. The man who can remain still while others panic holds invisible leverage. The world doesn't destroy you through overt violence. It drains you through emotional pressure. That's why the calm, silent, unreadable people always hold an aura of danger. They are the ones who won't flinch, won't explain, won't play. Their restraint unsettles others. They make the loud nervous. They make manipulators lose their rhythm. Because silence is unpredictable. Calmness is unnerving. Stillness is a weapon. To be emotionally dangerous doesn't mean being detached or robotic. It means no one can predict your next move. You can be insulted, yet smile. You can be doubted, yet remain composed. You can feel pain, yet still advance with certainty. This unpredictability terrifies people because they can't calculate you. When others rely on reaction to read your intent and you give them nothing, you become invisible and untouchable. You don't need to shout your dominance. Your restraint already proves it. You don't need to explain your worth. Your silence amplifies it. It's the quiet ones that unsettle rooms full of noise. The most powerful people throughout history understood this law of controlled mystery. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who wrote entire volumes about emotional stillness while ruling an empire. Or the Medici family, who ruled Florence through patience and silence while others destroyed themselves through impulsive anger. Emotional danger is not violence. It's precision. The ability to control the space between stimulus and response. Most people crave recognition. They want to be seen, heard, understood. But those who crave nothing become ungovernable. When you stop reacting, when you detach your sense of peace from other people's validation, you stop being predictable. And unpredictability is the highest form of control. You begin to realize that emotional manipulation is a test most people fail because they respond too quickly. The wise pass it not by clever comebacks, but by stillness. The calm man is feared because he cannot be played. When others shout, he watches. When others provoke, he observes. When others demand emotion, he gives calculation. It's not indifference, it's strategy. As Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man ought to measure not by the noise of men, but by their outcomes." The outcome of stillness is always control. Because once you're no longer moved by emotion, you begin to move the world You become like the storm kings of history, silent before eruption, decisive when it matters, untouchable afterward. The power others try to steal through manipulation is now the calm that flows through you. You no longer react, you orchestrate. The masses confuse calmness for weakness because they can't imagine power that doesn't need noise. But remember this: lions do not explain themselves to sheep. When you master that level of restraint, you become something few people understand. Emotionally dangerous. The kind of person whose peace is terrifying because it's unshakable. The kind of mind that walks through chaos untouched. The kind of presence that forces people to think twice before they play games with your emotions. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Into the hidden mechanics of emotional manipulation itself. How people disguise control as care. And why your greatest enemy might not attack you directly, but through your empathy. Most people never realize they're being controlled because control rarely looks like domination. It looks like affection. Manipulation often hides behind warmth, concern, and love. It doesn't start with conflict. It begins with attention. Someone studies you, not your words, but your patterns. They watch what softens you, what angers you, what guilt you respond to. They collect your emotional data like a spy gathers intelligence. And when the moment comes, they use it. Subtly. A sigh, a phrase, a guilt trip. I thought you were different. You've changed. They sound innocent, but they're strategic landmines placed inside your self-worth. That's how emotional control works. It's not about taking your freedom, it's about making you hand it over willingly. It's the same principle Niccolò Machiavelli outlined 5 centuries ago. Men are driven by 2 things, fear and interest. Manipulators blend both. They make you afraid of losing them while feeding your need for approval. They weaponize emotion to govern behavior. It's the psychological version of what powerful rulers have done for centuries. Controlling through belief, not force. The ancient courts of Europe were filled with this kind of invisible warfare. Kings didn't always kill their enemies. They isolated them socially, made them beg for audience, made them feel forgotten. The humiliation wasn't in exile, it was in silence. That same strategy now plays out in modern relationships, workplaces, and online interactions. The silent treatment is not immaturity, it's warfare. It's designed to test how much chaos you can endure before breaking. And once you react, once you chase, justify, explain, they win. Because your reaction exposes where you can be controlled. This is why calm people are so feared. Anger is predictable. Calmness is not. When you stay composed, manipulators panic. They can't find the button that used to work. They accuse you of being cold, distant, or heartless. But what they really mean is, I can't control you anymore. In today's digital age, emotional manipulation has become an algorithm. Social media thrives on outrage and comparison because predictable emotion is monetizable attention. If you're angry, you'll click. If you're jealous, you'll scroll. If you're lonely, you'll consume. That's not coincidence, it's design. The elite know that whoever commands emotion commands economics. Calmness, then, becomes rebellion. In a world addicted to reaction, composure is wealth. When you learn to observe rather than absorb, you take back control. You start noticing how often people try to redirect your emotions. Friends using guilt to get favors, bosses using pressure to extract more work, partners using tears to avoid accountability. None of it looks like tyranny, but all of it bends your behavior. The trick isn't to fight it. Fighting emotional traps only tightens them. The trick is to see them and stay unmoved. Silence makes manipulators unravel because it mirrors them back to themselves. That's why Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by the eye than by the hand. They crave visible reaction, and when you refuse to provide one, their illusion of control collapses. They mistake your silence for surrender until they realize it's composure. They thought you were playing their game. They didn't realize you were studying it. Think of history's real power players, the ones who seemed emotionally untouchable. J.P. Morgan, who could sit through financial chaos without blinking. Catherine de' Medici, who mastered emotional theater to control kingdoms through perception. These people weren't born ruthless. They were trained in restraint. They understood what modern men forget. Emotional transparency is a liability. When people can read you, they can rule you. This is the law that separates rulers from the ruled. Machiavelli's law. Emotion is weakness. Not because feeling is wrong, but because unrestrained emotion is predictable, and predictability is exploitable. The manipulators of every era, from royal courtiers to corporate strategists, understand this. They don't need to overpower you. They just need to know how you'll react. If you don't master your emotional code, someone else will write it for you. That's why Machiavelli advised princes to appear merciful, but remain calculating beneath the surface. The lesson is timeless. Show emotion as performance, not confession. Because in every negotiation, the one who stays calm dictates the terms. Most people never reach that level of awareness. They live in reaction, constantly provoked, constantly leaking power. They think they're losing arguments, when in reality, they're losing composure. The world doesn't reward sincerity. It rewards control. You can be genuine and still unreadable. You can feel deeply and still remain sovereign. And that's the next step, to evolve from the one who's constantly manipulated into the one who's impossible to read. The one whose stillness itself becomes strategy. Because there's a state far beyond simple calmness, a level of composure that turns emotion into authority. To become emotionally dangerous is not to become heartless, it is to become untouchable. It means your emotions serve you, not enslave you. Every feeling, love, anger, fear, desire, becomes a weapon under your command. The goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to master it so deeply that no one can use it against you. That's what separates the powerful from the powerless. Awareness, not apathy. History is filled with those who learned this art. Think of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote his meditations while surrounded by betrayal and war, yet remained composed. Or of CEOs and world leaders today who sit in silence while being insulted on global stages, understanding that a calm face unsettles the loudest critic. In every age, mastery of emotion has been the mark of sovereignty. Machiavelli called it the art of appearing unmoved when all others tremble. Emotional danger is born in the gap between impulse and action. Most people react. They speak when provoked, defend when accused, love too fast, and explode too easily. But when you learn to pause before responding, you turn chaos into calculation. Every second of silence after a provocation is a second of regained power. It's what elite negotiators, generals, and chess masters have in common. They understand that hesitation isn't weakness, it's strategy. The pause is your advantage because it gives you time to assess not just what's being said, but what's being attempted. That's the first rule of emotional control. Pause before reaction. Every time you resist an impulse, you reclaim authority. The manipulator depends on speed. They want you emotional before you're conscious. But the moment you pause, you become unpredictable. You turn their trap into a study. The second rule, replace emotion with strategy. When you feel provoked, ask one question: what outcome serves me most? That single thought transforms reaction into intelligence. When you think strategically, you stop feeding the manipulator. You stop leaking power through emotional confession. This is how history's great tacticians operated. From the Medici in Renaissance Florence to modern billionaires who negotiate billion-dollar mergers without revealing their tone or intent. They don't play the emotional game. They design it. Third, train your triggers. Everyone has emotional weak spots. Some get angry at disrespect, others at rejection. The powerful study these patterns like generals study enemy maps. They observe themselves under stress until they recognize every emotional landmine. Once you see them clearly, no one can use them. A king who knows the secret tunnels of his fortress cannot be ambushed inside it. Fourth, control your expressions. The human face leaks truth faster than words. A twitch, a raised eyebrow, a sigh, all reveal your inner world. Machiavelli warned rulers that appearances are everything, because perception determines obedience. The same rule applies now. The calm face, the measured breath, the still posture, all project dominance. The calm man forces others to second-guess themselves. That uncertainty is power. Fifth, say less than necessary. Every word is ammunition that can be turned against you. The less you reveal, the harder it is to be manipulated. In politics, business, or relationships, the one who speaks last and least often controls the frame. Think of Jeff Bezos in interviews. Minimal words, neutral tone, maximum control. Silence draws curiosity. Curiosity is leverage. When you embody these 5 disciplines, you stop living on emotional autopilot. You shift from being reactive to deliberate, from transparent to mysterious. You stop giving people the map to your mind. And as your reactions shrink, your influence grows. People sense your calm. They start to tread carefully around you. They measure their words because they can't read you. That's when you become emotionally dangerous. Not because you suppress your humanity, but because you channel it like energy through discipline. This mastery is not a one-time victory. It's a practice, a daily battle between your higher self and your impulses. Each time you resist reacting, you build another layer of strength. Each time you observe instead of respond, you sharpen your perception. You stop taking offense. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing to explain. And that absence of need is terrifying to those who rely on your compliance. The emotionally dangerous man is not cruel. He's composed. He's the storm contained within human form. He doesn't shout his dominance. His silence makes others speak first. He doesn't show emotion. His energy commands the room. He can walk through betrayal, rejection, and chaos without changing tone. That level of self-command doesn't just make you powerful, it makes you sovereign. But mastery alone isn't enough. Once you've learned to command your emotions, you must defend that control, because the world will constantly try to breach it. You'll need to build something stronger than calmness, a structure around your mind that nothing can infiltrate. Mastery is fragile unless it's fortified. Every emperor, from Augustus to modern corporate dynasties, learned this truth. Power without defense invites invasion. The same applies to your emotions. If you don't build boundaries around your mind, the world will walk right in and rearrange it. The emotionally dangerous man knows this, which is why he constructs something stronger than self-control, a fortress of composure. That fortress has 5 layers, each designed to repel manipulation and preserve sovereignty. The first layer is awareness. You must know what belongs inside your mind and what doesn't. Most people leave their gates open. Every insult, every opinion, every online comment slips through and destabilizes them. But the aware man filters information like a strategist scans intelligence. Everything passes through discipline before reaction. Not every voice deserves your energy. Not every gesture requires acknowledgement. This is how you begin sealing the gates. The second layer is detachment. Detachment doesn't mean coldness, it means emotional independence. It's what Stoics and modern elites share. When media attacks them, when markets crash, when gossip spreads, they remain still. Because they've learned the difference between observation and surrender. Detachment allows you to see deception without inhaling it, to witness chaos without drowning in it. Like a general watching a battle from high ground, you perceive without being touched. The third layer is discipline. This is the cornerstone that prevents cracks in your composure. Discipline turns reaction into ritual. Your thoughts, posture, speech, and even breathing are governed by intention. You practice control until it becomes second nature. The disciplined man doesn't need to pretend calm. He is calm. He doesn't react to disrespect because he already rehearsed it in silence. The world cannot shock him. He's seen it all in his mind first. The fourth layer is self-respect. Boundaries mean nothing if you don't value what they protect. When you hold your peace, your focus, and your time as sacred, you stop letting emotional predators drain you. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must guard his reputation more carefully than his kingdom. In modern life, your peace is your kingdom. Guard it the same way. Self-respect ensures that when people test your limits, you don't flinch, you enforce. The fifth layer is resilience. Even the strongest fortress faces storms. Betrayal, failure, heartbreak. They all test your walls. But resilience means every crack becomes reinforcement. Pain becomes information. Pressure becomes training. Each emotional attack refines your calm. Like steel forged in fire, composure hardens through adversity. The men who appear invincible aren't born that way. They simply repair faster than they're broken. Look at the world's most powerful families. The Medici, the Rockefellers, the modern billionaire class. They learned to operate from invisibility. They build their empires quietly, unreactive to public opinion, because they know emotion is visibility, and visibility is vulnerability. They move in silence because silence is control. Their power doesn't scream, it whispers through influence. That is the psychological architecture of a fortress. Command without exposure. When you build this fortress, your internal world becomes sovereign. Outside, chaos screams. Inside, you sit unmoved. You decide who enters, who speaks, who stays. You grant access to your energy like a king granting audience. That selectiveness terrifies manipulators because they thrive on availability, and yours has vanished. But construction isn't enough. Power decays without maintenance. The world will test your walls daily through provocation, gossip, envy, seduction. That's why maintenance is the final discipline of mastery. Observe constantly. Read intent without revealing reaction. Respond with precision or not at all. The less you explain, the more people imagine. And in their imagination, your silence grows louder. Restraint is misunderstood as weakness, but in Machiavelli's view, it's the essence of control. It is double pleasure, he wrote, to deceive the deceiver. To remain calm while others try to provoke you is the highest deception, because they expect chaos and you give them stillness. They expect reaction and you offer silence. They expect weakness and you return calculation. Over time, people learn they cannot pull you into their theater. Your calm becomes legend. Emotional power isn't about dominating others. It's about never letting others dominate you. It's the ability to feel betrayal without collapsing, pressure without panic, criticism without identity loss. The man who holds his center owns the room. He doesn't seek validation. He emanates it. His silence becomes gravity, his presence an answer. Remember this: the man who cannot master emotion will always serve one who can. That is the unspoken hierarchy of life. Control over self is the only control that cannot be taken. You can lose money, status, people. But as long as your emotional command stands, you remain untouchable. So guard it like treasure. Refuse to be provoked. Respond with calculation. Maintain your calm as if your soul depends on it, because it does. The calm mind doesn't just survive the storm, it becomes the storm. When others attempt to draw you into their chaos, smile inwardly. They don't know you've already won by not playing. That's what makes you formidable. The storm they can sense, but never see coming. No one controls you. No one owns your emotions. Your mind is your empire, and it is untouchable.